Hello and thank you for watching. This is STSC back again with LEGO Transformers 2007 Ratchet. Recently, I decided it was time to finally finish my mini '07 Autobots. I started with Ironhide as he only needed some relatively small updates, but after he was complete, I turned my attention to Ratchet. My first version of Ratchet was actually a Dark of the Moon build. At the time, I figured I'd just eventually recolor it for his 2007 version, but since then I've become much less happy with how that model looked. So I decided to give the model a major rework. The basic design is the same, but it's been streamlined. The proportions are better in both modes, and he scales better with other builds. Up front, I've added his brush guard, which was definitely a major missing detail last time. I've also added some slopes to his hood to give it some more definition. Something a little awkward is that he actually doesn't have a front grille anymore. This brush guard piece couldn't fit down with a tile under it, so I had to switch over to an ingot, which has chamfered edges. Up top, I've added his orange light bar, which may be a small detail, but I think it really helps to bring the whole mode together and make it look more like the actual vehicle. In the back, I've ditched his rear windows. It's unfortunate to lose that detail, but it's in service of having a much nicer backpack in robot mode. One detail that hasn't been lost, however, is his spare tire, which he still has mounted up on the roof. All in all, this mode has improved a lot since the last version. Before, he had a blocky, almost cartoonish aesthetic, which made him stick out when compared to my other builds. Now the Hummer is much more accurate and feels at home next to other characters like Ironhide. But that's all I have to say about alt mode, so it's time to transform. Here we have Ratchet in robot mode, and once again, the core of the model has not fundamentally changed all that much. I largely kept the skeleton of the build the same and simply adjusted the skin. His legs are a stud shorter, and I've ditched the snot building on his thighs, making them less bulky and allowing me to bring in some of the more accurate light gray coloration. His arms have also been shortened, and his shoulders are considerably slimmer. His midriff is pretty much entirely new and has some added visual complexity to bring it closer in line with the movie's sharp aesthetic. The new brush guard also helps to add some complexity and goes a long way to make him feel more like Ratchet. Like Ironhide, Ratchet has gotten a brand new head design. It's still a fairly basic build, but it captures the movie design much better than the basic brick I had before. I think one of the biggest improvements in this mode is his backpack. It's still a sizable amount of kibble, but it compresses much more and is far more cohesive. Before, he had an ugly armature hanging off his butt, but this time it all compacts down into a clean, simple block. Ratchet has two accessories, and they're relatively unchanged. His blaster is identical to last time and still clips into his hand. His buzzsaw is nearly the same, but has a new handle, which also clips into his hand. Ratchet was easily the Autobot most in need of an update. His build was awkwardly proportioned and just never felt that much like Ratchet. He was taller and bulkier than Ironhide, which never sat right with me, and it made him stick out in a lineup. Now he's been brought up to the same level of quality as his fellow Autobots, and is much closer to his on-screen appearance. He's about the same height as Ironhide and has noticeably leaner proportions. Nearly every aspect of the model has improved, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. But that's all I have to say about him, so I'll see you next time.